So what is an apex predator? Let's look a little more deeply at this. I'm going to read this out loud, and while I do, I'd like you to follow along with me. All right, so apex predators. How do top predators shape our ecosystems? Life at the top. A polar bear silently slips into the Arctic Sea. On a nearby iceberg, a snail snoozes in the sun. It has no idea that a massive hunter is sneaking up behind it. You can see the polar bear slithering into the water. Half a world away, a herd of wildebeest approaches a river, cautiously sniffing the air. They know that crocodiles lurk in these waters, but the river looks clear. The first wildebeest bends down to drink. As it drinks, a crocodile breaks the surface and moves forward, barely making a ripple. All animals must eat other living things, whether they eat plants or animals. They need matter to build their bodies and energy to stay alive. Plants produce energy and matter by making food from sunlight, water, and air. Herbivores eat those plants, and predators eat other animals. This movement of energy and matter from one living thing to another is called a food chain. Small predators are often a food source for larger predators, but some predators are so big and powerful that no other animals prey on them. They are called apex predators. They sit at the top of a food web. Apex predators play a powerful role in every ecosystem on Earth. So apex means top or highest point. So if you climb to the top of a mountain, you reach the apex. So an apex predator is like the top of the food web. So here's the forest food web. Who's the apex predator? Well, the hawk, right? He eats pretty much everything, and nothing eats him. The great hunters. Apex predators can be found everywhere on Earth, from the tops of mountains to the bottom of the sea. They range from tigers to eagles, pythons to snakes, but they all have a couple of things in common. Most are carnivores, animals that eat only meat. Also, most apex predators are not picky eaters. They often eat dozens of different types of animals that are lower on the food chain. Most apex predators fall into one of the following groups. Big cats. All cats are excellent hunters, even your cute house cat. Big cats hunt everything from mice to hippopotamuses. What's another type of apex predators? Crocodilians. Crocodilians include crocodiles and alligators and are such effective hunters that their bodies and behavior have not changed in millions of years. Finally, bears. Not all bears are apex predators or even carnivores, but the two largest, grizzly bears and polar bears, can strike bison, elk, seals, and even small whales that get too close to shore. Some more apex predators. Dogs. Many large dog species, such as wolves and wild dogs, are pack hunters. Working together, they can run down animals far larger than themselves. Birds of prey. Birds of prey hunt both fish and land animals. They eat live animals as well as carrion or dead animals. Yum. Sharks. Most sharks are small, but the largest sharks are unstoppable apex predators. They eat both fish and aquatic mammals, such as seals. Toothed whales. Some whales have teeth and are apex predators. I guess teeth instead of fangs, right? Orcas are efficient seal hunters. Sperm whales dive to the black depths to hunt giant squids. Squids and octopuses are also apex predators. Squid, along with their clever cousins, the giant octopus, are fierce deep sea hunters. And finally, billfish. Swordfish and their relatives are the fastest swimmers on Earth, making them expert predators. So these are all examples of different apex predators. Keystone species. All the organisms within a food web are dependent upon each other. As plant populations increase or decrease, herbivores have more or less food to eat. When herbivores are plentiful, predators have more animals to hunt. Apex predators have an especially powerful effect on food webs. One reason is that apex predators are often rare within an ecosystem. A mountain lion might be the only apex predator in its 250 square kilometer territory. If anything happens to that mountain lion, no other species can replace it. The prey population will rise. Right? So I guess they're saying that if the apex predator disappears, then the herbivores and other organisms that eat, their population is going to explode, right? Because there's no organism kind of eating them to keep their population in check. Second, apex predators hunt many different kinds of prey. A mountain lion eats mice, birds, deer, elk, and more. These animals, in turn, affect all the grasses, insects, and trees that they eat, right? If a mountain lion eats all these organisms, then those organisms aren't around to eat as many of the grasses, insects, and trees, right? So the apex predator kind of keeps the whole ecosystem in balance. Finally, apex predators sit at the top of the energy pyramid. The energy pyramid shows how much energy and matter move up through a food chain. For example, it takes thousands of plant seeds to feed a grasshopper. It takes hundreds of grasshoppers to feed a grouse, and it takes dozens of grouse to feed a mountain lion. A single mountain lion incorporates energy from all the organisms below it in the food pyramid. So let's look at this real quick. So let's see, we need lots of grass to feed these grasshoppers, lots of grasshoppers to feed these grouse, and lots of grouse to feed this mountain lion. So really the mountain lion is dependent on all of these things before it. If there's a problem down the food chain, is this guy going to have as much to eat? No. Because if all of a sudden, let's say all the grass, a bunch of the grass died, are there going to be as many grasshoppers? No, because there's not as much to eat. If there's less grasshoppers, there's going to be less grouse. If there's less grouse, then that apex predator is going to have less to eat, right? Because of their mighty influence on the energy pyramid, apex predators are considered keystone species. These organisms keep their food chain in balance. If a keystone species disappears, it causes huge changes to all the living things in its food web. So let's read about this Yellowstone keystone species, the gray wolf. For many years, Yellowstone National Park was missing an important apex predator, wolves. In the 1930s, people had hunted or driven away almost every wolf in the lower 48 states. Right, that would be the whole United States except for Hawaii and Alaska. As a result, food chains in the park suffered. In 1995, the National Park Service brought in a pack of wild wolves from Canada. The wolves quickly settled into their new home. They hunted bison, deer, and especially elk. The elk population dropped to a healthy level. The trees that the elk ate had time to grow back. Beavers used the trees for food and building materials. New beaver ponds popped up, creating new habitats for fish, insects, mouse, birds, and many other species. Other predators, such as bears, fed on wolf leftovers. The wolves helped return the entire Yellowstone ecosystem closer to its natural state, right? So because these wolves came in, they ate more elk. And that means there's less elk to eat those trees, and then those trees can be a resource for all the other organisms like the beaver and the bear. The ultimate predator. One apex predator dominates nearly every environment. Can you guess what it is? What is it? It's humans. Our species doesn't have mighty strength, incredible speed, or sharp fangs and claws for hunting. Instead, we use brains, teamwork, and tools to capture and eat hundreds of different animals. Humans even hunt other apex predators. We also use the land these animals depend on. As a result, many food webs have suffered. Fortunately, people also have the power to protect apex predators. Scientists now understand the importance of keystone species. Many people find apex predators beautiful and inspiring. Parks, reserves, and charities protect apex predators. By saving apex predators, we become the ultimate keystone species. We help save entire ecosystems. So here's a quick example. Florida and its people have set aside land to try to save the endangered Florida panther, an apex predator. We need these panthers, right? Because they're going to keep all those other organisms in check. They're going to keep that ecosystem and that food chain in balance. All right, thanks for listening. Move on to the next step.